Aloha, everybody. Well, about time for another Grumpy Gardener Medicine Show. You know, as you grow older and older, gradually you watch the relatives passing away, and then it's your friends gradually passing away, and I guess, well, if we're well-adjusted, eventually I guess we get used to the fact that, hey, it's just the way it is, man. It's inevitable, you're going to lose them. There's no way to stop it. So what's the point of getting too upset about it? You miss people. But, yeah, I kind of grown used to the fact that the Grim Reaper was harvesting people on a steady basis out of my life. Well, but then I had a new experience once COVID hit. Then what I had was... I had people who might have been friends who were just, mildly annoying or sometimes difficult. Well, they went completely toxic once they caught COVID, because COVID wipes out the dopamine-producing bacteria in the gut. Your whole gut flora can get completely messed with this. It's random. Some people end up coming through it. Others... they get long haul, and you can end up with anxiety, depression, and PTSD from COVID. And, I'm still suffering myself from a little lack of enthusiasm in my life that I had before I got that stuff, personally. Anyway, I had a few friends pass out of my life that way, too, because, you want to live a long, healthy life, eat right, get some exercise, and don't involve yourself in toxic relationships. Yeah. And those are my rules, and so I've had to let some other people go that way. That takes some. Insanity took more of them, and now I got a new one. Yeah. Dementia. Dementia. It's almost the worst one, because... well, the dead's irreversible. Well, nothing you can do about that. They're gone, the ones that kind of went off the deep end in life, periodically they come to their senses, and you might have a decent conversation before they go back off the deep end. But, it comes to dementia, your family or your friend can still physically be there with you, but they aren't there with you anymore. Or, dementia is a big word, right? And it's got a huge scale of what does this mean? Everything from nobody's home, don't remember anything, to just having memory problems, trying to remember things that had happened today and can't bring it up, that kind of thing. It can be really minor. It could be a small thing. Yeah, so the general symptoms when you experience a friend or family member who's developing dementia, it's first off is memory loss, confusion sometimes, just not sure. Alzheimer's is one of the major causes of dementia, okay? And it affects their reduced concentration, maybe behavioral changes, apathy. Yeah, I recall a man that came to me one time in the nursery, an older gentleman who had two younger women with him. It appeared it was the man and his daughter, and then the daughter's daughter that had come in. And he was looking for a cure for a lawn problem. He was getting patches in the lawn. And I helped him, and he was very passionate about the lawn. He wanted it to look good, and he was so happy I got him a solution and so on. And on the way out the door, his wife turns to me, or his daughter, turns to me and says, "He's got Alzheimer's. He forgot that he can't stand lawns." There's a behavioral change for you. Harmless maybe, but, really not funny. So... these are the things that tend to show. There's other symptoms, and it really depends. Like I say, it's a sliding scale. Is what is the extent of this? things that affect your memory loss, your dementia. Controlling blood pressure is really important here, folks. Controlling blood sugar also will have a positive effect. Keep your weight down, have a really good diet, stay active physically and exercise, stay active mentally and do something. I mean, learn to play the ukulele, go out and plant something in the garden, whatever, stay active, play games with your friends, and it seems like it might be unrelated, but maintaining good hearing, if you have any hearing damage, this is very important. It's also to some extent vision, but hearing. Often what happens with people is that they develop dementia because they can't hear what other people are saying, so they misinterpret almost everything that's coming at them. So they lose track, Same thing can happen too with your vision. I've damage to the retinas in the left eye, and when you use your eyes to view the world, only 20% of what your eyes actually take in is utilized in the brain, in the visual cortex. 80% of what's used for that image is actually past memory. Okay, and so when your vision begins to decline, you get to a point where, you're only making 10%, or worse. You gradually wall yourself off within your own memories and your own realities, and you lose track of what's actually going on. So vision's really important too. Yeah, like I say, this is a new one for me, but I have friends currently, no one yet who has developed dementia to the point that they aren't home, but in some cases I have friends who are worried about it themselves because they think that they're losing memory and things like that. Other cases, people around them have noticed, and so, and then they're tested and they find out, they're developing some sort of dementia, and it's noticeable, and it depends on the degree. If your friend or family member is just, kind of having a hard time remembering stuff, they're still there, it's when it gets really advanced that they can go into anger, aggression, or just nobody's home. I've seen in my own family, I had an aunt who I actually thought she'd passed away. It turned out she hadn't passed away. She just, nobody was home. She went into Alzheimer's and stayed that way for about 8 years. Didn't recognize anybody. Didn't know where it actually was. Now, in her case, I'm pretty certain it was the amount of alcohol that lady consumed that caused her problem. Yeah, pretty sure on that one. Although I have a mother who got into the states of anger late in life that could have possibly been some dementia. It wasn't reasonable what she was experiencing. Anyway, diet can have a whole lot to do with this, and since I'm the green garden guy over here, or the grumpy gardener, I figure that we ought to start with diet. And so foods that are really strong in helping to prevent dementia. Blueberries and strawberries and bananas also sit really high on that list. Well, turns out I love all three of them, and I eat loads of them, so who knows if that's why I could still remember my name, Whole grains. Yeah, I know one friend of mine, boy, he wouldn't touch brown rice or whole wheat bread or nothing. Well, he's starting to develop it. So, so whole grains, eggs, eggs, because they contain biologically active compounds. That's the names of the compounds I don't recall right now, but that's why the egg is it helps regeneration. Also, the peanut. Yeah, niacin and vitamin E. These are related to controlling memory loss and so on. So there's a few foods you might want to consider. Of course, then that would mean when it comes to foods, then you stay away from sugar-added foods. Stay away from wasted, sugary, carbonated drinks, like Coca-Cola. It's salt. Too much sodium in the diet will increase blood pressure, and the blood pressure will help speed the onset of dementia. And so there are things you should be eating and other stuff I would really probably stay away from if I were you. Well, then, again, coming from the perspective of the garden, herbs. Yeah, there'd be herbal supplements that work for all of this. And so one of the top of the list is ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is a Ayurvedic herb from India. It's also pretty good for regulating mood, state of mind. If you're in the blues, try some. But there's one. Cat claw is another. Ginkgo biloba, well known as a stimulant to mental activity. Goticola, lion's mane. Lion's mane's a real pretty perennial garden herb. You might want to grow that. Beautiful orange flowers. Saffron. Well, that one grows in most gardens too, by the way, but I tell you what, harvesting a gram of your own saffron is a long project. You use tweezers, pick all the little stamens. No. Anyway, turmeric, though. Turmeric, wow. Yeah, see, turmeric is well known as being an anti-inflammatory compound. The chemicals that are in there will prevent inflammation. And in parts of South India where people will eat curry containing turmeric every day, they really have almost no incidence of Alzheimer's at all. Because the brains are mostly fat, and the compounds in turmeric accumulate in fat tissues, and so their brains are pumped with this stuff, and it just won't let the inflammation occur. So turmeric, that's a good one. Other thoughts too, most things that are anti-inflammatory and antioxidant will really help. Now, of course, if you're already, I don't know who I am and where I am and where's the bathroom, if you're already pulling one of those, probably most of this isn't going to help you at all. But in the case that where a person might be, over 60, over 65, and they're going, God, I can't remember things the way I used to. This may help you. Yeah, because it may slow the progression and may even stop it, So I do recommend, if you're coherent enough to be watching this video on dementia, pick up a few of them. Otherwise, now this is no research, highly experimental, but cannabinoids are also strongly anti-inflammatory, and they're antioxidant very strongly. And I've been using the Delta 8 THC from industrial hemp to reduce my blood pressure. All right, well, lowering blood pressure is one of the things that will help in reducing the onset of dementia. But the cannabinoids also just take the inflammation out of the body, period. And that is really one of the main things that kills us oldsters. Yeah, old people pass away because they get completely inflamed and everything starts to fail. An example, I had a doc some time back. I don't have the same guy anymore, but when I'd get severe gout attacks and my foot hurt so bad or my knee, I couldn't hardly walk, the guy would prescribe prednisone for me. Now, that's a wild drug. It's a steroid, and I don't like it. But I'll tell you, one capsule of prednisone, and bro, I would be up, walking, throwing my crutches and going, Jesus, I can walk again. I've been saved. Yeah. The stuff takes the inflammation out of the body to such an extent that it decreases the inflammation even in the brain. For a couple of days after I take that stuff, I feel like Elon Musk. I want to fly to Mars. I'm going to build electric cars. I think I'll make a boring machine. I feel like that. It's like all of a sudden, wow, I'm stimulated. Well, you got to ease off on it too. So it's a withdrawal to this junk. So I don't like it. And you got to come back down. It's not nice. It's a crash. Leaving that state, that's what they did to Donald Trump when he caught COVID. They pumped him full of that stuff. And, he's going, oh, it's great. Hey, don't worry about a thing, right? Yeah, I know the story. Anyway, reducing inflammation in the brain, it can make a lot of difference, I'm telling you. So we're about reaching the end of anything I can say about this other than that, it's tough losing people when they're still standing there. Yeah, but I'm no medical expert, right? But I live in a human body, and I've been known from my friends and my family as having been a guy who's got a real good memory. At this point, I might even be able to lose half of my memory to dementia and still be normal. Yes, probably true. But I've been experiencing something rather unusual here. Now, first off, memory is the building of neural net. Okay, when you're remembering something, you actually grow brain wiring that holds these memories. And over time, the brain wiring holding memories can become so dense and so complex, it's very difficult to access the old memories. It's just the penetration is just so dense to get there. And, I also know that there is no such thing as a true memory. Okay. Yeah, memories are all illusions because even when you do remember something that might have happened to you when you were 6 years old, if that memory came back to you when you were 60, when you pull it out of your memory, you rewrite it. Yeah. The original memory erases. It is no longer there. A new memory is formed at that time, and the new memory is rewritten. It will not be exactly the same as the old one. It may be very close, but perspective of a 60-year-old and the perspective of a 6-year-old are very different. And so what you remember when you remember that 6-year-old's memory as a 60-year-old, it's not going to be the same. You'll have altered the memory. That's why they say that old men are just full of BS. Because they remember stuff, but they don't remember stuff exactly. Yeah, they rewrite it as they go along. They forget places, and so they write in that spot and so on. That's what the brain does. Yeah, so bearing that in mind, and being a person who has been known to have a very good memory, I've been having a very unusual experience lately. And the last few years, I'll be sitting in the dark, drinking a cup of coffee, thinking about nothing, when all of a sudden, ancient memories begin rising up. They begin rising up, and I'll be going through this, that, and the other thing. And I mean, they're random. There was nothing that really stimulated them, in the current. They just keep popping up. Well, what happens every time one of those ancient memories, some of which I have completely forgotten at this point till they surface, they get rewritten. And they get rewritten in another part of my brain that is further to the forefront over here, closer to where I'm at the moment, And so, in a way, I tend to feel it's like your computer doing defragging of the hard drives and then compressing of the files, is that the stuff has gotten so lost down in deep neural net memory that my subconscious, I don't know, is aware of the fact that I could be losing these memories, and so it's pushing them forward to rewrite them. I don't know. It's happening automatically, and I don't understand why exactly. But what I do know is that these memories are essentially being brought forward to me and being saved. It's a feeling almost as if they say my life is passing before my eyes in slow-mo. That's kind of what I'm doing here. And I would suspect if you have a person who seems to be developing some sort of memory loss, that probably helping them try to recall people, places, things, events that have occurred in the past that are relevant to their lives by just discussing them and seeing if they can remember the incident. And sometimes they don't, but maybe try a second angle. Well, do you remember when we, related situation? And sometimes that jogs it, and that comes up and they can remember it. Well, if this occurs, it's possible with your friend or family to go through the details and other things associated to that memory once it's recalled, and your person will store that memory in another part of the brain other than where it had been. And it might help in the case that people are having memory loss. If you exercise this daily with your friends and family, is to just sit around and practice recalling memories. Now, this is not science. Okay, I don't think there is a technique where doctors are recommending this practice, but it certainly can't hurt. And it seems logical to me that as you lose memory because you get plaque in the brain and so on, that moving memory to other locations may really help. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. Boy, oh boy. You don't want to have to go through this. Now, I hope to heck myself that I just don't ever have to go through this. Yeah, my brain slows down over time. It's not as sharp as it once was, but it's still working pretty good, and I have no problems with that. I expect deterioration over time. It's just inevitable, and so getting too worried about it. But if you lose too much, you become confused. You don't know even who the heck you are or where you're at, maybe, who those people are that were your children. This happens. And it doesn't matter what your walk of life is. Ronnie Reagan ended not knowing the difference between a bathroom and a closet. Okay, so y'all hang loose, aloha, and remember to eat right, get plenty of exercise, and don't deal with toxic people. Aloha.